How does Infosys, a $5 billion global IT consulting and services company, look at doing business in India today? We have with us Infosys co-founder and COO SD Shibulal. Shibu, how global is Infosys today? How much of your revenue comes from India and how much comes from the rest of the world?
So Infosys today is very global. If you look at it in multiple dimensions, 97% of our revenue comes from outside India. Out of that, 63% is US. Europe is approximately 24%. So we are a true global corporation today. If you look at the investor base, we are again global. We have investors from all over the world. We are listed in 2 stock exchanges, one in Bombay and one in New York. So there are investors from all around the globe. Employee base is again global. We have local recruitment happening in every part of the world, and we have local employees in various parts of the world.
What challenges did you face when starting up in India?
You know, the environment was very different in 1981. India was a closed economy. It was under license Raj. Capital markets were controlled. There was a Foreign Exchange Regulations Act which put tremendous constraint on foreign exchange transactions. So it was an era of constraints and not an era of enablement. That all changed in 1991-92 when the economic reform happened and India opened up for foreign investments. License Raj was abolished. So in a sense, we are the child of modern India.
Is India becoming a better place for startups?
It definitely is becoming a better place for startup. Today, there is an ecosystem. First of all, there is a sense of confidence, sense of hope that this can be done here. So in a sense, the creation of Infosys by 7 people who are from basically middle class, building a corporation is a classic example of this. So it has given a sense of hope and a sense of confidence to the new generation that this can be done here. And along with that, there is an ecosystem, there is venture capital available, there is a lot of innovation happening today.
What kind of business does Infosys do today in India, and what is the growth potential for this market?
So the kind of business which we do in India is very much similar to the kind of business which we do outside India. Predominantly in India, we are a system integrator. We provide business solutions to our clients. Sometimes we provide a platform. Sometimes we do custom business solution for our clients. We see the potential pretty good. We have entered the market recently. Other than Finacle, our banking product, which has been in the market for a very long time. From the service side, we have entered the market very recently, and we so far are having very good wins, and we look at the future very positively.
What are the challenges facing the global software market today?
I think the challenges are very different in different parts of the world. If you look at the mature markets where the investments have been done for a very long time, there has been a lot of investments done, a lot of technology has been deployed. There is of course a focus today to get the return on investment, right? How do you make sure that the assets which you have are sweated the maximum? How do you leverage them to acquire new clients? How do you leverage them to reduce your time to market? So those are the concerns which are being seen in the developed countries. If you look at the developing markets, it's all about new investments into technology, and how do you make sure that the entire population, including the below the poverty line or the entire population, is impacted by the technology, and how do you use the technology to bring the quality of life, the standard of living up for the people below the poverty line.
Emerging markets have staked their claims as the hotbed of disruptive high-tech innovation. What is the innovation landscape in India?
I see 2 kinds of innovations. What I call the outside in and the inside out. For example, if you look at the Nokia phone, which is approximately $40 to $60 in India, It is an outside-in innovation where they captured almost 50% of the market by creating a product which is very relevant to the Indian market. So, it is a product which was out there, they customized and created it through innovation. If you look at inside out, take an example like the Tata's Nano car, which was built to a price point which is $2,500. They are now thinking of launching it in Europe as Nano Plus. So, the innovation is coming out. So, there are two kinds of innovation going on, and I think it is really a very interesting period.
How is the culture of innovation in high growth markets changing the traditional corporate landscape?
So, I think the traditional innovation which has happened is all about what I call bigger, smarter and expensive, right? Bigger, smarter and expensive. But if you look at a country like India, it is all about leaner, cheaper and durable. How do you create products which are leaner, not too many bells and whistles, but whatever functionality which is relevant, which is cheaper and affordable, and which is durable, which means which can survive in a very rugged or very difficult environment. So, the innovation philosophies are very different, and I believe that it will eventually redefine innovation across the globe.
AFP recently reported that the demands of India's expanding economy has pushed its infrastructure to its limits. Power cuts last hours, congested ports delay loading, and the nation's roads are notoriously potholed. Economists feel that India's infrastructure wipes out as much as 2 percentage points of annual economic growth. Has this affected Infosys?
So, infrastructure is an issue in India. There is a lot of investment going into infrastructure today. Government is very focused on building roads and airports. For example, where I come from, Bangalore has a new airport. Delhi has a new airport which just got launched. We have an elevated highway from our office to the city, which was built over the last 2 years. There is a lot of investment and a lot of infrastructure being built. We do get impacted occasionally because of the infrastructure, but if I look at the last 15 years, all I can see is progress and progress and progress. So, I am a very optimistic man. I think India is going through a very fast paced growth right now. Also, the domestic economy is really coming up. There is an emerging middle class. There is innovation happening. So, in my mind, if all the other things are built, for example, there is good infrastructure being built, good educational institutions being built, the retail gets more and more organized, employment keep getting created, then the growth will continue.
What is a realistic rate over the next 3 to 5 years?
That is difficult to predict because even today, even for India, we are not an island. We are so linked to the rest of the world, right? So, the rest of the world, how it behaves, and the economy, the global economy, how it behaves over the next few years will have a tremendous impact. So, it is very difficult to predict in isolation.
What are the top 3 things you look for in leaders in Infosys?
See, number one, I think we are an organization which believes in leadership by example. We believe that the leaders should lead from the front. The leaders should not ask anyone else to do something which they are not willing to do, right? That is number one. Number two, I think the world today requires leaders which are role models, who are willing to build a business on legal and ethical grounds, right? Ethics is becoming very, very important for the leaders. So, it is about corporate governance, it is about legal and ethical behavior. That is number two. Number three, we look for leaders who are willing to learn and willing to change, because what is relevant today is not relevant tomorrow, and what made us successful yesterday is not going to make us successful tomorrow. So, the third important characteristic we look for is learnability, or willing to learn.
What is the status of corporate governance practices prevailing in India? Is it on par with the other developing markets?
It is definitely on par with the other developing markets. For example, if you look at the stock exchange clause 49 listing requirement, most corporations today are satisfying the listing agreement, clause 49. and many corporations are adopting world-class standards. For example, we are listed in NASDAQ, which means that we have to comply with SOX compliance, we have to comply with the listing agreement of NASDAQ, we publish our balance sheet in multiple GAAP formats. I think that is becoming a norm. See, corporations are finding out that good governance, good corporate governance is a competitive advantage, because the investors trust you more, customers trust you more, employees you are able to attract the best set of employees, because they get attracted to the purity of purpose or the legal and ethical ways in which businesses are run. So I think many corporations are adapting not only Indian standards, they are going ahead of it or beyond it to adapt world-class standards.
Shibu, thank you for being with INSEAD Knowledge.
Thank you very much.